part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster, still trying out a new cadence for my intro. And today we are continuing our Summer of X coverage, but specifically our Wolverine coverage. We are finally bringing a close. We've talked about all the Wolverine movies except for the last one, which is called Logan, a.k.a. the Rated R Superstar. Joining me today are two, I would say, some of the most violent people I know in my life. Here to talk about a very violent, bloody, R-rated movie. My first guest, they are a writer, director, and they host a show called The Nonfiction Show, which is the third Saturday of every month here in Los Angeles in the lovely Atwater Village at Eno Vino. Please welcome to your ears, Julie Pearson. What's
Hello.
up, Julie?
Hi. Boy, this movie was violent.
Yes. That first scene, I was like, right, yes, okay, rated R.
Okay.
I believe you.
Is this what Marvel movies are?
Mm-hmm. Never. There's nothing like this. No one like our boy Logan. You heard him laugh, unfortunately. So there is another guest.
Sorry.
Joining us. My second guest is a hyper local comedian, currently not in Los Angeles, but he's a man about town. Please welcome to your ears, back from Winter Soldier days. He's back. Please welcome Trent Dozier.
Technically, the Rated R Superstars Edge, but that is for a wrestling podcast, and this is a Marvel podcast. Hi, Damon. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you, Trent. I can't wait to teach you what a reference is. Yes, I know Edge. He's a Canadian wrestler, and
that's true. Good job, Damon. Oh my God, I love that.
Yes, I watched wrestling from 2003 to 2008. And I
watched wrestling from 2003 till
current.
It's current. It's open-ended. So
I've watched none, and all of these are new references to me.
Julie, get ready for the time of your life on this podcast.
Can't wait.
So we watched Logan. Trent, we've discussed Marvel. I want to go to Julie first. Julie Pearson, I feel like I've never talked about superheroes with you ever.
Most people haven't.
So
is the thing.
So fill me in. What is your relationship? Loosely Marvel, but mostly, specifically Logan, the X-Men. Like, what do you like? See all of them all the time? Like, how do you deal with them?
Oh, I know nothing. I've seen nothing. And I actually did see Logan in theaters, though. So I did do a rewatch for this podcast, but this is one of the only ones that definitely the only X-Men movie I've ever seen. So from my view, they're all like this.
Oh, incorrect. But a nice thought.
Thank you.
So were you confused by anything? Was there like the whole like mutant saga?
I mean, I feel like it's in the like world enough that I was generally aware that the X-Men are mutants. I just like when I picture them, I do picture like the comic books and the very like the action figures my brother had.
Mm-hmm. And that are in this movie as well.
Yeah. Bright colors in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a very like, I was surprised at the tone of this movie in a fun way.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I have a very comic book picture of the X-Men, but I haven't seen any of the other Marvel movies that lead up to this. But generally, I did not find it confusing. I feel like there's probably things that I didn't get as well as maybe people who have seen, and I was just kind of took things at face value and was like, sure, cool, when there's probably a lot more going on. But generally, I was like, all right, yeah. They're on a mission and everyone's going to die. Like, I don't know.
Essentially, but cute kids are going to die. And that's what we're trying to save. Trent Dozier, talk to you about Captain America, but talk to me about Wolverine. I believe the last time I saw you at our Chillax summer show, were you or were you not wearing an X-Men t-shirt?
That is correct, Damon. In fact, it is laying at my feet in front of me right now. It is a sweatshirt with the original X-Men #1 comic book artwork on the front, which I bought at Target. And maybe you too, viewer, if you shopped at Target, could also own that sweatshirt.
Sorry,
but
Trent's
yes,
pushing
Damon,
his Target agenda on us.
What can I say? I love it.
Well, do you love the X-Men and specifically Wolverine?
I do.
What is it about him? What is it about him? Why are we drawn to him?
Well, it's funny that Julie brought up the cartoon or the animated series, because that was like what got me into X-Men was that we talked about this the last time I was on, but I was never quite really a comic book reader as a kid. It was always the movies or film or TV stuff that got me into everything.
Mhm.
And so the X-Men TV show, like, I loved and would watch. And I remember very specifically that the X-Men arcade game, which was also the bright yellow outfit version of the X-Men. And it's like, what's the word? It's Mario style, where it's 2D,
Oh,
but
the
you're
characters are just kind of going side to side.
walking. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
side to side the whole time. Anyway, that was always fun. Anytime I popped into a Chuck E. Cheese or whatever to play that. And then Wolverine, when you're a little boy trying to do boy stuff or whatever, you're like, yeah, he's the best. He's got claws and he growls and he's furry or whatever. And then when Hugh Jackman played the role, he's like, in the comics, Wolverine is like this tiny little meatball, and Hugh Jackman is like this tall, beautiful man who also, had claws. Really, it's the claws. I think the claws is what is cool about Wolverine.
It's very distinctive, and that is true. It is on this podcast that we have broken the fact that Wolverine is actually like a short king. He's like 5'5" or something. Like he's actually really short.
Yeah.
But Hugh Jackman breaks the mold.
Yeah.
It's a doozy. This movie's a doozy. It's crazy to me as someone who's watched all the X-Men movies that I have. No one's asked me to do this, but I have. This summer I've seen them all, and they're weirdly connected, and you can kind of like, it's kind of one long story, which they didn't need to do. They could have just rebooted this at any time, but they're kind of all connected. But I like this movie. I think this is like a great culmination of the Wolverine character. I wish I could say this was it, but it's not. He'll be in a Deadpool movie, I think, sometime soon, Deadpool 3. But the thing I like most about this movie is how much it does reference back to like the X-Men movies, specifically with like Patrick Stewart and their relationship and how it like came to this. I think it's a really cool way for it to end, but it is pretty darn violent, which is not a normal Marvel thing. I will tell you, Julie.
Okay. I didn't think it was, but I was like, are the rest of the X-Men? I mean, those claws.
I mean, usually when he uses the claws, he does stab. It's more of a stabbing thing of just like a chest thing, or like you don't see it. The hits to the brain, that's new. He doesn't.
There were I don't know, 10 plus of those, and maybe like 3 decapitations that you just like see.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, let's start off with this movie. So Julie Pearson, producer Michael has done some research on you. You were a limo driver, in fact, in 2012. We found. Mm-hmm. Have you ever come across this where a gang of hoodlums were trying to take your limo?
No. Not specifically, like not exactly like in the situation that, like, I mean, I'm not going to say no one's tried to like steal a hubcap while I was driving, but like, no, I haven't like been
while
in
you were
situation.
Driving. But how did you like this first scene, Julie? Was this like, again, is this your normal movie you watch where people will just get eviscerated within the first 5 minutes?
I mean, it gave me a stress response. I will say, not really, and because I feel like I did see this movie, so I had like some general like, okay, these are who the characters are, but really without much context, it was just like, oh, okay, so he's ready to like kill people. Which I feel like in what I understand is a person who hasn't watched very many superhero movies of like the superhero sort of code or whatever. There's like this thing of really like, I don't know, there's like a sort of artifice to the violence where you're like, yeah, they'll hurt the bad guys just enough to get them to go away. But this was just straight up like, okay, cool. Just murder. This is just straight up murder here.
Straight, but he was like, don't do it, guys. He gave them a warning. He was like, come on.
I mean,
don't want to do it. I wrote my notes like, this is just a portrait of a broken man, because it's a different version, because like it hurts him to like get the claws out of his little knuckles. Trent Dozier, this is a different Wolverine than we've ever seen before, I would say. Would you say that as well?
Yeah, he's old. He's broken down.
Old and broken down. Yeah. What did that do for you? Like, did that endear you to him more, or were you like disappointed that you weren't getting the claws of fury that we're used to?
No, it endeared him to me more. I also like what you were saying earlier, Damon, about how it kind of like is like this perfect arc on his character and his story over all the movies. This is like exactly where he, should be at this point. So to me, it was all very much. I wasn't like, dying for old Wolverine. It felt like this I wasn't dying for like capital O old Wolverine. We got current, like, is literally old Wolverine, and
Yeah.
it was still good because it's like, it's the same character, just breaking down slowly. So he's got to like try to find new ways to deal with stuff, but he's still got all that rage inside of him.
He's so ragey. I do think
So
the opening scene set the rules of the world really well. Where you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be real. Like this is a murderous man.
Yeah.
That first scene in the bathroom set for me, who doesn't know his powers and like the parameters of them, like he's popping bullets out of his chest, and I was like, okay,
yeah. But back in the day, they would just pop up naturally. But this time, it looked like he was like,
giving
get
effort.
these bullets out. Yeah.
Ooh, he's so tortured.
So tortured. And he has the worst career ever, limo driver. I couldn't, because we get like a montage of him like taking out these like boys to prom who were just screaming like USA.
In 2069, we're still chanting USA. Come on, guys.
Oh no, it's 2029. So we're
2029.
I believe, yeah.
God.
Which is famously not too far from where we are. So,
man, if this is the world we're gonna live in 2029, oh my God,
kill me now. This is where it's around this time where I noted this is an Oscar-nominated film. It was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. I think it was the only nomination. Did not win, but good for them. Oh, we get this woman sees Logan at a funeral and is like screaming at him, Logan! I don't know. Julie, if you were harboring a felon mutant, would you, the person you wanted to have help you, would you scream at them like this?
In public? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
It seems dangerous.
Yeah, especially when
you don't know who's watching, you don't know who's around them.
Yeah, especially when you're on the run. Like, keep it just kind of like, hey, Logan, I need your help. I don't know. I've never been in this situation. Maybe my stress level would be, I'm like, Logan, get over here. But it does not seem like the right tactic.
It didn't seem like it boded well for her.
No. And was this actress, was she on Orange is the New Black?
Yeah,
I believe. Yes, she was. She was the mom in that mother duo of like.
Yeah, the like really dysfunctional mother-daughter duo who were like the same age. Yeah.
We get to see a little bit of how Wolverine is living. I feel like this was a big twist. Trent Dozier, do you remember? Did you know that Professor X was going to be in this movie?
I think I did know. I wasn't sure. I don't know if I knew like how much he was gonna, like, he's the second lead essentially, and I don't know if I knew that he was gonna be in it that much. I thought it was gonna be more of a cameo situation.
Oh, but no, he's living in, I think, is this a tipped over water tower? I want to say
something like that.
So they're living with Caliban, played by Stephen Merchant, who is from the original Office, the British Office. Or UK Office, I'm so sorry.
And also the very underrated show, Hello Ladies.
I have seen, that was on HBO, yes?
Long time ago.
Yes, I remember hearing about that. So they're living, nightmare Three's Company scenario right now. Where who I would say Logan is Jack, Professor X is Chrissy, and Caliban is for sure Janet.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
For sure the Janet. Okay, where do I want to go with it? Julie, again, I'm just interested as a non-X-Men fan. What did you know about Professor X? What were you coming in with about him?
I was definitely like doing like retro math in my head, trying to be like, say, Professor X, right? Like, like that's Professor. There's a character named Professor X, and he's probably not a villain. And I don't remember. Like, I was trying to put those pieces together. I did not look it up at all, except maybe I IMDb'd it. Just be like, yes, Professor X, that's a person. Yeah, so I was 100% going on context clues here. I don't really, yeah, he seemed to be sort of a father to the, I don't know. I was just, that's as far as I got.
I
Fill me in,
mean,
please.
oh, well, I mean, he did. I mean, he's not normally this spacey, but
Yeah.
what I liked about him in this movie is that like he just can't help but help younger people with superpowers. So like when he sees Laura, he's like, I have to help her. I will say Patrick Stewart, I think, is doing an amazing impression of a caricature of Patrick Stewart in this movie. Like, this is the
Okay.
voice we all make when we're making fun of Patrick Stewart. Yeah, Trent Dozier, on your feet.
He does he voices a character on the animated show American Dad. He's like the head of the CIA.
Yes.
And that is essentially a caricature of Patrick Stewart. And so when he was in his kind of babbling Professor X mode, I was like, oh, hey, this is American Dad. He's just doing American Dad. So it's funny because I agree, Damon. That's exactly how I would say is like all of us do a caricature of Patrick Stewart. And then also Patrick Stewart does a very good caricature of Patrick Stewart.
And isn't it the craziest thing? His is the best.
Yeah.
It should be.
Well, he's a great actor.
Great act. He can even do himself. I loved how cantankerous Professor X was in this movie. And I think similar to like the violence in the first scene, this also kind of set the tone because Professor X was like said, fuck off, Logan. I was like, oh my God, he's supposed to be the understanding father of the X-Men.
Logan Roy moment.
Yeah. This is what Logan Roy's father would say. Fuck off, Logan. We stand a succession in this house.
Yes.
All right. Trent Dozier, Caliban, what's his deal? What's up? Is he a character? Should we have known him before? I had no idea who this is.
He's not a character that he's more of a deep cut X-Men for sure, at least in my orbit of X-Men fandom. I also feel like I could be wrong. I think he was like in like maybe X3 or something. He was like a throwaway, like I feel like a different version of Caliban, not even like had no lines or any, one of those type deals where it's like you're looking through the credits and you're like, oh, I guess this guy was Caliban. But this felt like a much more like, filled out version of the character. And
yeah,
he was great, and it sucked that he got his powers used against him eventually. But that's basically what he is like a little. He's very good at sniffing out mutants, literally, and he's a hunter and a tracker. And he also, similar to me, has to stay inside or he'll get sunburned very badly.
Yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah, us fair-skinned boys have trouble in the sun.
Yeah, but mean to say sorry about that.
They really did take a bit of a Voldemort angle on him makeup wise that I found a little distracting. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. And it's like, I really felt for him because did you get the sense either you like he was trying to like downplay his mutant abilities? Like, I'm not a mutant. Or like Logan was like, he's not a mutant. Because it is that's one of the things about the X-Men universe with like these mutant abilities. Like anything could be a superpower. It's like, what's the weakest thing? Like, I know what time it is everywhere at any time. Without looking at the clock, I know what time it is. Like that could be a mutant ability, and like, oh, you must be hunted by the government. But like Caliban and Trent, you're right, and thank you for bringing this up because I did not talk about this character when I talked about X-Men 3, but there was a character who could track other mutants, which honestly feels more like a plot device than a superpower. But that's just my opinion. I don't know if your body would actually mutate. Like, I know where other people like me are. But this is our trio, and also we have established Professor X is acting up. Has some kind of brain disease. They don't really clarify, but he's having seizures, which is making him. And this is also cool because, like, we saw this in X2. He has this ability to make everybody freeze where they are and stop moving. But now that's like on the fritz as he's getting older.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening when he's having the seizure is that everyone's freezing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like this cool thing where like everyone stops in their tracks and he can kind of like get out of a situation, but it's acting out. Did you like this move? I did.
Yeah, I love that move because he's in his little wheelchair just buzzing.
Yeah,
through everybody.
he goes through. I thought this was interesting because like they have established that like your mutant powers don't show up until you're like in puberty in your teen years. And then this is like nice to see on the back end of that when you're getting older, how there could be more complications. It's not fun to be a mutant. I'm just going to say that. You may think it is.
Sell me on it.
No, not for you.
No, didn't. This was not a calling card for mutanthood.
Well, okay. Here we are. Okay, I think we're at the point where the nurse finally meets Logan, enlists his help to help this girl cross the border. Right? We're at a motel. Trent Dozier, you famously help children escape evil corporations and help them cross the Canadian border. Would you have gone about this the right way with just like an envelope full of cash and a bloody arm?
When you're trying to save kids, Damon, you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes you're yelling at a guy in a cemetery, and sometimes you're yelling at a guy in a motel. But either way, you're trying to offer him a bag full of money, being like, please, you got to help these kids. At the end of the day, were her choices great or maybe even well thought out? No. But she didn't like have a lot of time to like get everything together. And she knew who she needed. So
she had time to make a freaking iMovie in that footage. Who edited that?
That is the funniest part of the whole movie. Is if you think about it, she's like, okay, I have to film my message to Logan, and then can you imagine crying, talking about how you need his help? You need to save this girl. This girl is not my daughter, but I do love her. And then being like, okay, now let's get iMovie open here. I'm gonna have to splice this. I'm gonna really need to sell this.
Good thing I captured B-roll while I was still at the institution.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? My narration would have more of an impact after this image, so I'm gonna put that here.
Yeah. It was crazy. The two things that took me out of the movie where I was like, this is unrealistic, which, it's a movie where 100 people get stabbed in the head or whatever. But the two parts,
claws.
Yeah, the two parts where I was like, this is unrealistic is her having edited the video, and then also later Laura driving the car. I was like, her legs are too short.
Oh.
She could not reach the gas pedal.
Well, maybe she was using her little foot blade.
Oh.
She's got a claw that comes out of her toe. She's like, boop.
Okay, I rescind.
Put it on the accelerator.
You convinced me, Damon.
Oh, yeah. When it comes to that foot claw, I have all the answers.
That foot claw was awesome.
I had forgotten that she could do that. I was like, oh, right.
I did too.
Toe claws.
That was sweet.
Incredible. All right. So Nurse Woman does die. Did she bleed out or did someone kill her? That wasn't clear in my viewing.
When Logan leaves, Logan goes back to Caliban and Patrick Stewart for some reason. And then when he comes back, she had been killed by
Robot hand.
Yeah, robot hand. Donald.
It looked strangly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I think at this point, Laura, aka X-23, joins up with the crew. Professor X is like, we have to help her, Logan. Please. I love this voice. I was getting so let's talk about X-23. I was getting very much Eleven and Harper vibes for any Stranger Things fans. Producer Michael chimed in with Michael, hop on the mic. What are the names of those characters from The Last of Us?
Joel and Ellie.
Thank you. That's Michael, everybody. Joel and Ellie. I only watched the gay episode of that series, but did either of you watch the whole thing?
No, I watched none of it.
That was like gay appointment viewing. Every gay person was like, it's gay. We all watched episode 3, and I think some people stayed, but I was one of the many who left.
I did. That was the week I briefly considered starting the show, but I was watching Station 11 at the same time, and I just couldn't do double apocalypse. So
please don't do that to yourself. We already survived one. It
was already a little much.
Yeah. But they have this Wolverine and Laura have this very nice, like, I guess it's literally paternal relationship. But Julie Pearson, you what was your reaction to Laura? Famously, I think you had claws when you were a little girl.
Oh yeah, but they fell off. So
Damn.
Dang.
Yeah, it's either they take or they don't, and
that's what they say. That's what the books say.
You don't use it, you lose it.
But how'd you like Laura?
I thought her facial expressions were everything.
And they were.
I thought giving her the sunglasses was a great move.
It was so cute. I loved it.
Yeah, she's just so angry behind like the funnest sunglasses you've ever seen. So yeah, I think that really made Laura. And also the way Patrick Stewart said her name over and over, I think really made
Laura.
Really, really good. Yeah, I thought she was great. She's just chilling. Like you truly can't tell that she's processing anything that's going on for the first half of the movie.
I would agree. That was one thing I was kind of confused about when it comes to these kids, these like next generation of X people. Like, are they okay? Or are they like what do they feel?
She seemed less okay than all the other kids. Maybe it was just because they were like all together or something, but she seemed, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you'd be pretty shell-shocked overall.
Yeah, but I think that makes sense because I think she was the last one that they were making because she was 23 and then the clone, we'll get to the clone, Attack of the Clones. Oh, yeah. He was X-24. So I think she was like, I think she was the closest to this mindless killer as they could get, but she was still human. Honestly, my favorite scene when like those two men go in to get her, like when the people storm the base or whatever, and she just walks out. I didn't even see I thought it was her backpack, and she just tosses it, and it's someone's head.
I know.
Like, Laura,
that's cool stuff right
Let's
there.
Go.
Oh yeah, she doesn't, and it just doesn't affect her in any. I guess that's the premise. It doesn't affect her in any. She's just like walking through. She's like, everyone's dead. Like,
it makes sense that she bonded with Patrick Stewart because he can read people's minds. So she was like, okay, you're chill. You're goofy as fuck, but you're chill. Trent Dozier, can you reenact for me your reaction when you saw the toe claw come out?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sitting here watching the movie. We've already seen a couple beheadings. We've seen a bunch of head smashes, whatever. It's all cool stuff. Then all of a sudden the toe claw comes out and I go like this. Oh, toe claw. Totally forgot about it.
It's and so did the people who were attacking her. They also forgot it. These guys, okay, so yeah, they fight. There's a great limo fight, which I never thought I would see that in a movie. This is also where they escape. Patrick Stewart, Laura, and Logan all escape. Caliban, I believe, is captured, unfortunately. Yes. Luckily in the shade for now. This is where we get the movie on the nurse's phone, and we learn that Alkali, again, this is where the movies are all connected. Alkali is like the Alkali Lake is where they made Logan who he is, where they put the metal on his bones. They made all these children soldiers. Again, very Stranger Things. Coming up, we're going to talk about the movie The New Mutants, which I would say don't watch that movie. Just listen to my podcast about it. But very much the same thing about teen or kids being experimented on, kids with superpowers being experimented on. Honestly, it seems like a fool's errand to do it. After seeing it in 2 X-Men movies and Stranger Things, the kids are just going to get their superpowers and kill you. Like, am I crazy?
No, I think that makes sense. I feel like why would you do that? But like it's in the zeitgeist for a reason. What do we not know, you know?
What do we not know? That's exactly. What do we not know? And what do we not know is what's going to happen after this break. But we're going to have to take it anyway. Not my best transition, but they're usually good.
I liked it, Damon.
Thank you, Trent. Julie is notably silent on transition. That's fine. We are.
That's great. Great job.
Thank you. I need applause. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk all about that casino scene and the rest of this dang movie and that unfortunate farm family, which I really made me mad. But that's all coming up after the jump. So enjoy these commercials for other podcasts on Press Play Podcasts and Podcast 616. We'll be back.
Welcome, everyone, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster, and I am inviting you to listen and subscribe to this Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. On Podcast 616, we gather some of today's greatest comedians, writers, and actors to dive deep into all things Marvel, like comic book history and lore, all the interconnected superhero storylines, and of course, Who's hot and who's not in the MCU? Honestly, why aren't you listening right now? You have the power to listen to Podcast 616. And as we always say, with great power comes even greater responsibility. Listen and subscribe to Podcast 616 wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Hopefully you enjoyed the break. Trent is in a completely different shirt. Trent Dozier, was this casino in Oklahoma City? Am I crazy?
Yeah. It was a Harrah's, I think they said. A Harrah's casino.
Have you been to Oklahoma City in your travels?
No.
Julie, how about you?
No,
Okay.
never.
I mean, I truly, for this whole sequence, I was like, oh, they're in Vegas. This is
Yeah,
so
I was trying to
Vegas.
figure out how the G. I was really doing because they were definitely in Oklahoma, and then I was really trying to do. I was like, no, but they're trying to go. No, why are they at Vic? And then it said Harris, Oklahoma City, and I was like, okay.
Mhm. okay, Oklahoma. Okay, Oklahoma.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I was in Oklahoma in high school. The play. I've never physically been to Oklahoma.
I was in that in 7th grade, so I guess I can speak with authority on this topic.
Yeah.
And honestly, not to hop on the bandwagon, but I was in the pit orchestra of the musical Oklahoma my junior year of high school.
Wow.
I played
so we've got a full show here.
Yeah. I played clarinet, and let me tell you, there are very little clarinet parts in Oklahoma. So that was the easiest gig. So this whole Oklahoma scene, Julie Pearson, walk me through this scene. Like they get the new outfits.
Yes. Well, they drive up to the valet with a limo that is riddled with bullet holes.
Yes.
Which was a favorite moment of mine. Really wanted a longer scene with that valet, honestly.
Yeah.
wanted to see him try to park the limo, see the chaos inside, but he just gave it a little look.
That'll be the more comedic version of this movie. We just keep cutting back to the limo, like the valet trying to park. Oh God, trying to parallel park.
Like, why is it jerking to the left every time? That car, that limo cannot be driving well anymore. Is all I'm saying.
No.
Yeah. So they show up with the bullet hole, and he says, I feel like he says like keep it out front, which is weird because why would he want anyone to be able to see it? But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Laura gets her sunglasses and that cool
Iconic.
shirt, really important moment. Also wanted more out of that.
You want it like a shopping montage?
Yeah, I definitely did.
Set to Christina Aguilera's "What a Girl Wants," which yeah, let's keep pitching ways to how to make this a comedy.
Yeah, that's
or at least
what I'm
I'll
here
do that.
for. So she gets, and then oh man, what happens after that? I completely forget beyond the shopping.
We get the Western. This becomes, I think, Laura's last line in the movie.
Oh, the movie.
The movie.
Oh yeah, she's watching. Yeah.
I wish I was a better podcast host. I don't know what this movie is.
I don't either.
But Professor X says, I watched this when I was your age, Laura. Oh, I love Westerns. When men were really men shooting each other. That's
right.
Beast
And then Logan leaves them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Does he make a call or something?
Where does he go? He goes somewhere.
He goes to no. Where
Damn.
does he go?
He goes on a walkabout.
Does he go? He goes to get the new car.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And he was like going to pay the woman extra to no paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, at
Ooh.
the car dealership.
This is actually, this is great. And then while they're getting new tires for the car, he goes to the bar and he's reading the X-Men comic book, which I thought that was at first I was like, I hate this. This is so like cheeky. But then, are you with Julie? Do you know where I'm going?
I loved
with this?
it. Yeah, it was great.
Because they have the Eden, the coordinates for the safe place. And I just love that they put that thread in, because I'm like, oh, is it real or is it fake? Like, is it just like, like at the North Pole, that we're telling people?
Yeah.
Sorry to destroy this for you, Trent, but the North Pole is not where Santa works.
Where does Santa work then?
Oh boy.
You're telling me Santa doesn't work at the North Pole, but he is real, right?
We'll talk about this offline.
Okay. I don't like the tone of that, but okay.
So he's reading the comics like, this is fake nose, no real Eden. Then is this where the world starts to shake, or does he makes it back to the casino?
He's like driving up to the casino, and he's like, oh no.
And they do like if you can, for my guess, I'm shaking my camera on the Zoom, because we get a little nice camera shake effect.
Yeah, that's really good, Damon. I love it.
Thanks.
Ooh, and then he takes out his claws and he's like stabbing the wall to pull him to the.
It's like, it's such the energy of watching your dad trying to stand up from a couch. Like, the struggle is real. The movie is like, hey, remember when we stab people in the face in the beginning? Now we're going to do it again, but slowly. And like, it was like darkly funny watching these men who are like frozen move their eyes like, huh?
Yeah.
Like the claws are coming in.
It was so funny.
Watching themselves getting stabbed. I'm just like, my God. So he does all that, and then another head quake for Charles Xavier. And then I think it was Laura who gives him the injection that cools him out. There's like a whole thread of him not taking his medication. Yada. And then Trent Dozier, I hope it's okay to bring this up, but you used to be in business with Richard E. Grant's character, I believe.
Yeah, I get it's fine. You can bring it up.
You guys ran this Alkali Labs together. So this is where he enters. What were you feeling when you saw your ex-business partner walking in?
A lot of nostalgia. A lot of bad feelings, because I was out of the business by this point, obviously. Otherwise I would have been in the movie, but I didn't agree with a lot of what he was trying to accomplish with his child soldiers.
Yes. This is Dr. Xander Rice, surgical head of the Transigen.
They're bad. They're bad people trying to make kids into soldiers.
Can I get you on the record? You're saying this is bad?
Yeah, I think the Transigen Corporation, who's trying to turn children into weapons, is bad. You can quote me on that.
Yes, speak truth.
I'm still on the fence about it.
Okay.
And you can quote Julie on that.
No, don't quote that.
Julie's like, I got a few people that I could use some.
We just edit that out. I never said that.
But yeah, Julie Pearson, Richard E. Grant. I feel like I just see this actor in everything.
Stacked. When I was watching the opening credits, I was like, wow, stacked cast. He's in. Of course, I can't remember anything offhand, but yeah, he's in everything.
Well, I'm just looking this up real quick, because I think this was this the same year as that Melissa McCarthy movie? Oh, it was the next year. Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Oh yeah, he was definitely in that, which I quite enjoyed.
Oh, lovely. And I believe he was in an episode of Charmed. He played a dark lighter, if anybody is a fan.
Most importantly, Gosford Park, which I never saw.
He was in a couple episodes of Loki, which is relevant to this podcast.
Yes, he was. He was the. They put him in the
Loki or old Loki, or
they put him in the original Loki outfit from the '60s comics, which was very funny. Yes. So Richard E. Grant, he's a good bad guy. I just love how cold he was. Like, he really looked at these children as like products that have like gone rogue. Like, gotta collect them. And I believe he's like, so his whole deal is like, he's got Caliban, and he's like, I'm going to use you. And I think this is where he like shoves him into the light, gives him the Trent torture treatment of putting him in direct sunlight.
Horrible.
Which again, is that his mutation? He's like he can track mutants and also afraid of he can't be in the sun. The sun hurts him.
If that's the case, then I am at least half mutant.
I mean, we've kind of all been saying that. But behind your back, of course, to be polite.
Never talk to me. Always go behind my back.
Guys, I'm so sorry, but this is the time in the movie where I have to talk about the black family that gets killed. That's all they are to me, and I'm just gonna talk about this because this sucked. This really sucked. To introduce 3 black characters and to ritualistically kill them off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is the one. This is a miss for me, and I think there's obviously a racial element for me, but also just like I just don't think this movie needed cute characters that to be killed off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't know. Julie Pearson, you seem like you are a defender of all things cute. What?
Yeah, they should have killed the cute family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the second something nice happens, you're like, oh no. Like
I know.
And this is the one, because this is the one part of the movie that I kind of remembered going in to rewatch it was I don't know, like the image in my head from this movie was like them driving away and this innocent family like completely dead in their way, you know, and just like how violent that was definitely like the one sort of image takeaway I had from the movie from 5-6 years ago whenever I saw it.
Mm-hmm. I will say it feels very comic booky because this is like dark comics, or as we call them, graphic novels. Like this is something they would do. I feel like they like comics is like where the real dark shit is. Anything written by what's that guy, Frank Miller, the guy who did Sin City.
Oh yeah. Yes.
It just felt like if you're kind and you're in a comic book, you are doomed to die is like,
yeah.
And it just sucked. It was like, it also felt like everybody knew who Logan was except for these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like everyone was like, oh, I'm a big fan of Logan. Oh, I loved you, you know, but these are like, we don't know who you are, but please come to our family.
Innocent farm family. Yeah. And I also will say like, introducing 3 black characters, which really shines a light on this otherwise being like the whitest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Which you really notice when they show up and then they just die immediately. It's like, not great.
It's like, oh yeah, where have they been? I mean, we do have Laura, who I believe is a person of color because she is of Spanish descent in some way, shape, or form.
True.
But it's just, yeah, it was rough. This is rough for me, and it's rough talk. It's rough for me. I just don't think it needed to be like this. I think the movie should have been about them.
Yeah, it was unnecessary, and it felt extremely emotionally manipulative to me.
Yeah,
to be like introduce this family, and when they get run off the road and they're helping them with the horses, I'm like, oh, is this just like a good deed, or like what is the purpose of it? But the purpose of it was for us to then go to dinner with them and be like, oh, this is a beautiful family, so nice. And then they set up the whole thing with the other, they have their own evil corporation trying to steal their business. So now we're worried about that too. And I'm just like, oh, I love the Munson family. Oh, never mind. They're all 3 brutally murdered. Doesn't matter. I agree, Damon. Not good.
Yeah. Really weird to go into like farm business.
Yeah.
Which also shout out, man, nobody, this is only true in my house, but like the reality show Farmer Wants a Wife. Have y'all been watching?
No, but the commercials are very funny.
I have been watching it. I haven't finished, but I know someone. I know one of the women who wants who are potentially one of the wife. I've met them, and it's like the first reality show. And every time I watch it, I'm like, why isn't this about farm business? I didn't know I was going to go here because it's like, oh, farmer wants a wife. The challenge is like, you know, clean the pig pen or like carry this bale of hay. I'm like, why aren't you asking them about how they would handle agriculture business, which I feel like would happen more if you co-ran a farm with your husband.
Yeah.
And I got it here. Fighting over land.
Got your ag biz fix.
Yeah. But it also is like, I feel like the reason we introduced this family is because they wanted a brutal way to introduce the clone of Logan.
Yeah.
which I again counter. Why couldn't we do the classic sitcom? Oh no, I've got a date, and like both Logans show up at the same time. Like if on this journey, Logan's like, I got to meet my internet girlfriend, but instead she meets clone Logan. I don't know. Trent Dozier is what? Logan.
Logan. Oh my God, that's so good.
Logan, as it were. Trent and Julie, actually kind of crazy that you're both here. You both have been cloned in your own way. Was this similar to your experience with your clone? I'll ask Trent, you go first.
Not even close. Me and my clone actually live in perfect harmony, and we're best friends. So I cannot relate to this cloning situation at all.
Wow. And Julie, what was your interaction?
Well, so I actually did have the situation where I thought I was going on an internet date, and my clone showed up. So I can't really relate either.
Unfortunately for me, this is very similar. I befriended a fun family. We had a great time. We had a great meal, and then my clone showed up. Oh boy.
He never liked that. 4 is not company.
No, and definitely not X-24.
Whoa.
X-24. Again, this is very comic booky. I feel like comic books are where cloning. That's where you get all your clone content.
Yeah.
Because it's very fun for the artist just to draw the same character twice. Time saver. So X-24 shows up with a severe buzz cut. I mean, okay, man, my notes are really dwindling. I just wrote, here are my notes for the rest of this. Clone, Professor X dies, Spanish, Eden is real. Western, Toy Wolverine, X Johnny Cash. So I'm ready just to head to the end. But the clone shows up, kills the nice family, and also the mean farmers. And the farmer dad drives a truck into him.
Farmer dad drives a truck into him and shoots him in the head a bunch.
Yes.
His head grows back, though.
All good heads do. Professor X dies. Julie, did you think, was this the first time you've seen Professor X died? Or did you know he's died before?
I did not know that.
That's kind of his thing. He died in X-Men 3. And he came back. Julie, talk to me about the loss of Professor X for you as someone who only knows him from this movie.
Okay, well, yeah. So as someone who only knows him from this movie, he did verbalize that he was 90, I believe, at one point.
Yes. Yeah.
So it did feel like, okay, it's sad. It's sad for us, but it didn't feel tragic. I was like, he's 90. I think he seemed to know he was going on his last journey this whole time.
Yeah. One last ride.
Yeah. So it felt, knowing that he's probably going to come back is actually more confusing, and that he's already died. I think the 90-year-old dying seemed like the least strange thing, maybe.
Yeah. And again, it's that thing of like, man, he killed by Logan's face. And like, that was really sad when Logan came in. He was like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Yeah. Charles, or Chuck, as he called him. All right. Can we just go to Eden? Can we just?
Damon, we can do whatever you want.
I just want to go to these cute kids. That was such a sad part. Okay. Eden is real. It's run by children, like the 7th book in Harry Potter. Kids are running the show. These kids, I mean, they're great. Who's the main leader? I'm looking up his name. Richter, who can like move rocks.
Yes.
Great power. Great rock moves. They're like, oh my gosh, we're so going to leave. They're just going to take this path through North Dakota to the border, and there's someone communicating with them over there. Kids are doing all right. They're really cute. They do they shave Wolverine's beard mustache while he sleeps. Very into that. And Wolverine fully goes old Yeller and is like, I'm not, get out of here. Go on, get. Trent Dozier, I believe this is how you and Wolverine broke up. You guys used, I'm sorry.
Damon, we don't need to talk about all my past relationships.
I'm just saying,
business or personal.
It just seems a little, I don't feel like I'm doing my journalistic duties to not call out the fact that you dated Logan while we're talking about Logan.
Well, honestly, I still don't know if I dated Logan or Clogan. They look the same, and I couldn't figure it out.
Haunting.
Classic sister situation.
Yeah, yes.
But Trent, how are you? How did you react to Logan with these little mutant kids, these little freaks?
I am I wrong in saying that weren't the kids created in the lab and then they spent their whole life in the lab? So
Yeah.
who set up Eden? Who set it up? And then also they're just running it and they know, but they've never been outside before until like a week ago when they all got out of the hospital.
Yes.
Those are my questions. And then Logan interacting with the kids. It's always fun to see a grumpy guy with a bunch of happy-go-lucky children. That's always a fun dynamic. So that part was fun, even though we're exes or whatever. It was hard to watch him on screen, but otherwise it was a fun section of the movie.
Thank you, and thank you for being brave and coming on the podcast to talk about it.
Thank you.
I did also I think I did also have questions. I think my interpretation was different. I think maybe either I missed something very clear because I was tired, which is very possible, or my interpretation, because it was like the same kids from the picture, right? I was like, wow, they're really far ahead of her on this journey. How? And I guess I thought they were all looking for Eden together.
Yeah, I don't understand how they all got separated.
Oh, yeah, I guess I misspoke because I guess this isn't Eden. Eden is like where they're going.
Yeah, I guess I thought that they were, and again, maybe I did miss something, but I thought that as I was watching it, I thought that they were like all gathering in this spot and they were all going to like travel to this Eden they'd been promised, and we don't know what's there.
You're right. I think in my tiredness, I just wrote my notes. This is Eden. We're doing it. But
yeah, but how'd they all know to get to the same? Yeah, I think they basically just like yada yada the specifics, and we're like, yada yada, they're over here, and now all the kids are together, and that's what matters.
We just want to see Logan interact with some kids. That'll be fun.
Yeah, at this point too, there's only like 20 minutes left in the movie.
Exactly. But he's like, go on, I don't care about kids. And then he hears their screams because the bad guys have found them. I haven't even talked about the robot hand guy. Do we care? I don't care about him.
Donald.
He gives me the energy of like the other rated R Marvel movie, Deadpool, the first one. There was that guy who was like, wasn't there a guy who was like, I want to be Deadpool's biggest nemesis? And he's like, no, you're not. I feel like I might be making that up, but there was like, they look the same.
Yes.
Anyway, this guy is just like, I think he's like, oh my God, I'm Logan's biggest nemesis. And I'm like, you barely register.
Yeah.
Like, just because you got a little robot hand. And he got killed by the kids.
Middle management.
Yes. Big time.
And he was killed by grass. What a flop. Could you, God, to be taken out by grass, it's embarrassing. But this big showdown, I will say, so last week we talked about The Wolverine, which is basically Wolverine takes a trip to Tokyo. Great movie, fantastic film. But I will say the ending was not my favorite. It was a little hackney. But this movie, I think this ending is really, really good. I love, because, the fact that it is kids, it forces him to like really care. Like, he's not going to let a bunch of kids die. He's, you're not that bad. So he snaps into action, has a showdown with himself. Classic, haven't we all?
Yeah.
And then, I'm also going to yada yada at the end. They win. X-23, Laura gets the adamantium bullet, puts in the gun. Pow, kills X-24. And then but it's too late. There's also the serum that Wolverine takes to like enhance himself. Man, we skipped over so much. I'm so sorry. Caliban is dead. For you Caliban heads out there, he did blow up.
Yeah, he sacrificed himself.
As he was always going to do.
As he was always going to do. Wolverine takes some serum to get a little bit of a boost. He goes back to his old ways. We get that nice Wolverine cry. Like,
I think your Patrick Stewart is better than your Wolverine, but it's still
Thank
good.
you, Trent. The key is to just be a ghost.
I was gonna say that one sounded way more like a ghost than the other one.
I was in Macbeth. So Wolverine shows up, he fights, he saves the kids, but he does die because this is a serious movie and a little bit of a western. Goes down. What I love at the funeral that the kids have for him is one of the kids is holding a little toy Wolverine. Did you see that?
I did.
My heart My heart breaks. Then Laura takes the cross, puts it on its side, makes a nice little X, and then we go out in some Johnny Cash. That's the movie. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I saw.
Yes, you did. That is exactly what you saw.
Man, I feel like I'm bulldozing through this, bulldozering all through this.
Nice.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about Logan? Anything we missed? Anything we didn't talk about?
I felt the ending. I got emotional.
Same.
Just, I think Laura really sold it.
Yeah.
Laura. What about you, Trent?
Beautiful film, minus the little detour to kill the Munson family, but otherwise a beautiful film.
A beautiful film. And what better way to cap off a beautiful film with a beautiful game of Fuck, Marry, Kill. We are going to do Fuck, Marry, Kill, the game we play this weekend every week. We'll take 3 characters from the movie and we'll decide which ones we will fuck, marry, and kill. You know how to play. The first, so the people on the docket for this Fuck, Marry, Kill are, of course, the titular Logan, Professor X, and Caliban. I will go first to give my guests time to think. Think. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm killing Caliban. I'm a California girl and I love the sun. And if you can't roll with this, get out of here. I'm gonna be, as soon as we're done recording, I'm going out and I'm not coming back until the sun sets. June gloom is done. Hello. Also, this will be dropping in July. Who cares about June? July. We love the sun. So I'm killing Caliban. I don't want to find any other mutants because I already have 2 waiting for me, and that'll be Professor X, who I will be fucking. Yes, I will do it. I find Patrick Stewart attractive. I don't know what to tell you. Do I have a problem? I don't think it's a problem. I think it's perfectly natural. Also, I love the way he talks, and then I would just confirm that I have a great Patrick Stewart voice, and he'd love it. So that'd be a fuck. And I'm gonna marry Logan. I'm gonna hold that man, and I'm gonna take him by the hand and be like, put these claws down. You don't ever have to unleash these claws ever again. And then he'll be really happy with me, and that's the game for me. Let's go to Trent Dozier. You are a returning guest. Please go next. Who do you have?
Okay, so spoiler alert, I think I land exactly the same as you, Damon. I will explain myself, though. I think it is so obvious that you're marrying Logan. He's going to protect you, even though he's old at this point in his life or whatever, but he's a protector and you will feel safe with him at all times. Now, I, in my heart of hearts, want to kill Professor X, not because I don't want to fuck him, but because his brain is falling apart and he could kill me at any moment. But I so deeply do not want to fuck Caliban that I would rather potentially have my brain ripped apart in the middle of fucking this old man than I would, be anywhere near Caliban, who, as I've stated, we are equally pale, and so we kind of cancel each other out also. So I'm killing Caliban, I'm fucking Professor X, and I'm marrying Logan.
All right, I'll mix it up.
Please,
okay.
Julie.
Okay, let's see. Well, I'll fuck Logan because, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
it'd be a good time. I'm gonna marry Caliban.
Wow, forever.
Wow.
I also hate the sun.
Okay.
And he's such a good caretaker.
Yeah,
that's true.
And
you could just wrap up, like, because he was like fully wrapped up with a hat and scarf and everything.
Exactly. So yeah, that's how we'll have breakfast. It'll be fine. And I'm gonna kill Professor X because it sounds like he'll just come back in the next movie anyway. So I feel okay about doing that.
Yeah, and also Julie, in X-Men 3, he was disintegrated.
Yeah,
there was no body yet,
and he still came back.
Love finds a way.
He's been in actually quite a few movies since he disintegrated.
Very much. Beautiful. Oh, that was so fun. A good fuck, marry, kill. I like when we can discuss these things and have various opinions. Thank you both so much for talking about Logan with me. Let's do the plugs and such. Trent Dozier, are you online? What are you doing? What do you want to tell people about?
You said this is coming out in July, we think?
Yes, this should be towards the end of July.
Yeah. Okay, then in that case, I'll say Wednesday, July 26th at 7 p.m. at the Yard Theater in Los Angeles, California, is that edition of Cam and Trent's Family Reunion, which of course is a live variety show with an improv forward focus, and we are a part of the Chilax Collective, of which Damon is also a part of. I'm sure he's talked about on this podcast many a time. So yeah, if you're around, come check out that show. And then also I have a podcast called I Love Improv with Trent Dozier that is about improv, and Damon was recently a guest in that episode. If you want to go back and listen to a great one, I would highly recommend Damon's episode. It was very funny. Damon's a joy.
Thank you so much. I don't know what it was good. I don't know what was going on with me. I was like, man, I've never done good Zoom improv until your podcast. So thank you.
Thank you.
Julie Pearson, where can people find you? What's going on in your life?
Well, what's going on in my life? Ooh, we don't have time. Let's see. Well, you can find me at jpairs on Twitter, although I don't tweet that often, but I'm there. And you can find me at the Nonfiction Show, which you already very kindly plugged, which is the third Saturday of every month at Vino in Atwater at 7 p.m. And you can, I don't know, like just, you know what, go to the link in my Twitter bio and you can find more of my stuff. That's it.
Love it. This is Podcast 616. You can find us on Instagram at Podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, the podcasting network that let me talk about Logan all month long. Thank you so much. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, can you tell us what letter grade would you give this podcast? How'd we do?
I fucking love this movie. And you guys hit everything except the Last of Us part. You gotta fucking watch Last of Us, please. A triple plus. For sure.
A triple plus.
Whoa.
Man. Whoa. We've never done a triple plus before. This is huge.
Love getting a good grade.
Oh, God. That's the only reason why I do this podcast. For the GPA. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Trent. And you know what? No one said it. Thank you, Logan, for all that you've done. And I can't wait to see you in Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
That's the podcast. We'll be back next week. I think we're talking about the New Mutants, which, oh boy, if you haven't seen it, don't.
It's a movie, that's for sure.
For sure a movie. Until then, please remember that with great power comes even greater responsibility.